Hello, my name is Kassia Antin, and in this presentation I will be talking about Superfund sites in the Lower Raritan Watershed. A Superfund site is a location that has been contaminated by mismanagement of hazardous waste. These sites include landfills, manufacturing facilities, and processing plants. The term Superfund is one common name for the 1980 Congress Act, the Comprehensive Environmental Response, Compensation, and Liability Act, or CERCLA. Superfund requires the Environmental Protection Agency, EPA, to clean these contaminated locations. EPA assigns financial responsibility for cleaning up contaminated locations, provides funds if no responsible party can be determined. Depending on the specific details of the contaminants at the site, there are short-term and long-term response plans. Long-term response plans can only be used for sites on the EPA's National Priority List. While Superfund is a national program, New Jersey has the highest density and largest number of Superfund sites in the country. Some of these sites are shown on the map on the right, with the yellow dots representing active sites and the green dots representing sites that have been removed. The reason New Jersey has so many of these sites is due to the state's industrial history. There were densely packed areas of industry, and few, if any, environmental regulations to prevent dangerous disposal of toxic waste. Even now, contaminants from these locations negatively impact the health of the surrounding watersheds. The American Cyanamid Superfund site is one example of a highly impactful site in the Lower Raritan Watershed. It sits above the Brunswick Aquifer, which is a large source of drinking water, so it is important to properly manage this site. The map on the left shows a general layout of the site in relation to the bodies of water, and the map on the right shows the American Cyanamid site in the broader context of the state. The American Cyanamid site was active from 1915 to 1999. The picture on the right shows the site in 1940. They manufactured synthetic dyes, pigments, organic chemicals, pharmaceuticals, and more. There is a stream called Cuckles Brook that cuts through the site and leads into the Raritan River, as seen in the picture to the left. From 1915 to the 1930s, this brook was used to dispose of unfiltered industrial waste into the Raritan. Waste treatment began in the 1940s, with further treatment added from the 1950s to the 1970s, but direct discharge into the Raritan continued until 1985. As a result of manufacturing at this site, bodies of water, soil, and groundwater under and surrounding the site were contaminated. These contaminants fall into categories which are explained in the following slides. Volatile organic compounds, or VOCs, are carbon-based compounds that can easily evaporate. They are known to be harmful to humans and the environment. For example, benzene was found in the site's groundwater, and the groundwater was found to seep into the Raritan River. Semi-volatile organic compounds, or SVOCs, are a subgroup of VOCs that have a higher molecular mass, so they are less easily vaporized. One example are polychlorinated biphenyls, or PCBs, which are a type of chemical that were used in manufacturing, the structure of which is on the left of the slide. Heavy metals are metals that have a high molecular mass and are toxic to living things. These include arsenic, lead, and cadmium. Each type of compound has been known to lead to increased risk of cancer due to exposure. Additionally, SVOCs and heavy metals have accumulated in the sediment of Cuckles Brook. These contaminants can also build up in the tissue of living things, like fish, through a process called bioaccumulation. The toxins in the fish can then negatively impact humans if the fish are eaten by people. Additionally, if there is severe weather, like in August 2011's Hurricane Irene, shown in the picture to the left, the site is at risk for flooding. These floods could damage the current containment measures and potentially cause pollutants to leave the site. In 1983, the EPA placed the site onto the National Priorities List in order to be able to implement long-term remediation plans. In 1985, direct discharge of waste into the Raritan River stopped. In 1999, all manufacturing at the site stops. In 2013, a court case finds Pfizer, the current owner of the site, responsible for designing plans to clean up some portions of the site and conducting a study into alternatives for another portion of the site. In 2018, the last portion of the cleanup plan was proposed by the EPA, which involves treating contaminated waste ponds. In 2019, a new groundwater treatment plant was installed to address contaminated groundwater and keep the chemicals, like benzene, from leaving the site and entering the Raritan River. In terms of pollution in the American cyanamide site, the levels vary greatly based on the location being tested. Many have decreasing trends of pollutants, such as the graphs shown to the right, but the levels are still above the regulatory standards. As of 2019, there are parts of the original Superfund site that have since been removed due to the locations being deemed acceptably clean. There are continuing concerns from environmental groups about how further flooding will impact the site, especially with increasing storms due to climate change. The American Cyanamide Superfund site is just one of many sites that impacts residents in the state of New Jersey. Oftentimes, the data about these sites can be difficult to find because they are organized by municipality and not by watershed. There are projects that aim to make this information more accessible, but there is still work to do. Thank you.